Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today we're learning Masechtas Sanhedrin Daf Chaf Beis. We are going to begin on Chaf Alf Amud Beis, 5 lines from the bottom. Tanya. Ezra Shenitnan Torah al Yadai Yisrael. Ezra Sasaifer was on such a madrega that he was shaykh to be able to bring and give the Torah to Klal Yisrael. Imali lo kadmu Moshe. But Moshe hu Omer Moshe al Elokim. But Ezra hu Omer hu Ezra olo mebavel. So the truth is, if Moshe just was, let's say, born after Ezra, Ezra would have been on the madrega to have been able to have accomplished this. Maliyah amor kan Torah Faliyah amor laholan Torah. Just of course, when we're talking about Moshe Rabbeinu, he was able to elevate us to the highest levels of learning Torah, and so too by Ezra. But Moshe was commanded to teach all the various laws. But Ezra also it says to teach Klal Yisrael the laws. Even though it wasn't given to Ezra, nonetheless, Nishtan al Yadai. Haksav, the script was changed in the time of Ezra. Shnamar, as the pasuk says, quoting the Gemara in Daf Chaf Beis Amud Aleph, the Ksav ha-nishtamain, which is the change of the language, the Ksav which has been changed. Kosiv Armis is written in Ashuris, Umeturgum Armis. And its translation was Armis in Aramaic. Not like the way it was written was it read. Upshara, there was a compromise for the sake of the king. And furthermore it says, you should write this Torah. It means write that which is to be changed. The Torah was to be changed. It's an interesting thing that the Torah potentially could be something which is shaykh to be changed. Okay. So on this, the Gemara says, a woman nikra shuris. So why was it taka that it was read in Lashon Ashuris? Sha'ali mahem mi Ashur. The reason why it's called that is because that's where it came from Ashur. Tanya Rabbi Yomi b'tchila b'ksav zeh nitna Torah Yisrael. In this ksav, b'ksav zeh, focusing on that, it was given to Yisrael. Kivon shechatu, but once they sinned, nefach lehen l'royetz, it became turned to to a splinter. Kivon shechaz behen hechzir lehem, and once we did tshuva, then it reverted back. Shenemer shuvu libitzrin, that it should be turned back to the fortified cities. Asiri hatikva gam hayom magid mishnah ashivacha. So too the prisoners, they should have hope on this day as it will be returned to. So Lamanikra Shema Ashuris. So why is it called Lashon Ashuris? Shemisheres b'ksav, because it's considered the choicest of all the ksav of all the languages. Shimon Eliezer ben Prata, Shemer, he said, Mishum in the name of Rabbi Elazar, Moida, ksav zel nishtana, koleker. Actually, it was not changed. Shenemer, as the pasuk says, Vavi ha'amudim, the hooks of the pillars. Ma'amudim, just like the pillars, lo nishtanu, never changed. Af vavim lo nishtanu. So to the vavim. Notice the same letters, nothing changed. And furthermore, it says, regarding, this is brought down in Megillas Esther, that it says that as it was written, so it was said. So Malo Shainim Lo Nishtana never changed the Lashon from Lashon HaKodesh. Af Ksav Lo Nishtana. Elmanim Emekayim Es Mishnah HaTarazos, which sounds like it was changed. L'shtei Taras. It's referring to two Taras. Achas Shiatzas Nichnasima V'achas Shemenachas Lo B'Beis Gnozov. As we said, that when it comes to a melech has to have two Taras. One which he practically brings in and out for his sake of learning, and then the other one is put into a storage house. It's like almost like an amulet. The Tayel Bezara is like hanging by his arm. So the purpose of having that Torah is that Hashem should always be ever so much in his presence. The Idach, and the other one in the storage house, Hashavisi my darishbe. So it's V'idach, rather, this other person, what does he darshan this pasuk to tell us of Shavisi Hashem? So Hahu Maboyel Rav Chana Bar Bizna, Diyam Rav Chana Bar Bizna, Rav Shimon Chasida, Hamispal Sar Shir Atzma Ki'ilu Shechina Kenegdoi. When a person davens, you have to envision that the Shechina is opposite you. In fact, a lot of synagogues, they will actually have on the Aron HaKodesh, they will have the an actual they'll have the words which they Shavisi Hashem L'negdi Talmud. So as though to demonstrate this idea that you should always have Hashem, certainly when we're mispalel. Shenemer Shavisi Hashem L'negdi Talmud. Rav Shimon Diyaber Ksav Zeh L'nishtane. According to Rav Shimon, that the Ksav never changed. My loy kehalwin ksavel amikru. What did this pasuk mean? Which sounds like there was a changed translation. So Amirav begamatria ichdiv lahayin. It's computation form. Yas yat idach pug chamt. So if we look in Rashi, Rashi says yant, which is based on the atbash, which in the place of an aleph, instead you have a taf. Instead of a bet, you have a shin. So b'makam mem kosav yud hasmuchalei. Instead of a mem, you have the yud. B'makam nun ksav tet. Instead of a nun, you have a tes. B'makam aleph ksav taf. So it's basically just explaining to you that this pasuk allows you to be able to darshan through the atbash. My parish lahu. So what is explained? Oh, this pasuk, it says mana takil parson, mana the counting Eloha malchuscha should be for the king. Takil, it is weighted. Tekilta b'ma'azne, it'll be weighed with a scale. V'hish tachas chasir parisas, and it'll be broken into these pieces. Malchuscha v'yavta l'madipras, that it'll be given over your land to the nations of Madi and Pras. Shmuel Eimer mamtois nan kefi an l'roin. Rav Yochanan Eimer anam lekt nisrafu. Rav Ashi Eimer nama takel porson. So this pasuk is mashma in Sefer Daniel that they couldn't read Ksav Ashuris. So it was coded, but it was really Lashon Ashuris. So that's what it's coming to tell us. That really it was just a code, but really entirely it was Lashon Ashuris. Okay, let's see the next Mishnah. Says the Masnisen, Ein Reich V'El Susai. You're not to ride on a king's horse, and there should the king. Then Yoshin al Kiso, you can't sit in his throne. Then Mishtamshin Bisharbita, and you can't use his scepter. Then Royan Oisa Kashu Mistaper, you can't see him when he's getting a haircut. I just got a haircut. V'lo Kashu Oroim, you can't see him naked. V'lo Kashu B'Mesa Merchatz, or when the king's in a bathhouse. Shnemar Som Toisam Lecha Melch Shneim Maso Lecha. You have to have a fear, and therefore all these things may take away from that fear. Says Gemara, Amar Rav Yaakov, Amar Rav Yochanan, Avishag, who was the girl that was laying by David, likened to like an Eved, and she was like lying down next to David HaMelech, Muteris L'Shloimai. So she's actually would be allowed after David's demise for his son Shlomo to marry her. Yisur l'adniya, but she's not allowed. Avishag cannot be with Adoniyahu. So So B'teres l'shloimo hamelech chaya umelech mishtamish misharbita shel melech, because a king is allowed to use the scepter of another king. So therefore, he's allowed therefore to take Avishag. However, Yasura l'Adanyaha, because Hedjethu, this was his son, and he's not considered to be a melech. So Shlomo, who's a melech, could take her, but the son Adoniah was not a king. He was a Hedjet. Now Avishag Maihi, what exactly is the story of Avishag? Dechsiv Melech David Zakin Ba B'Yomim V'Goymer. It says that he was getting old. V'Yermu Avadav Yivakshu V'Goymer. So he asked his servants to help him. V'Ksiv Yivakshu Naira Yafa V'Goymer. And they found this young girl by the name of Avishag. V'Ksiv HaNaira Yafa Ad Ma'oy. She was beautiful. V'Tehi L'Melech Saikenes. And she provided him with warmth. V'tisharsuhu, and she served him. Amra, so she said, Ninsvin, let's just get married, right? We're in the same bed together. So Amrullah, so David said, Asirtli, you are forbidden to me. Amrulay chasre leganve nafshel l'shal manakit. I'm an upright woman. What exactly are you doing over here? Why would you not allow our relationship to get to the level of being married to you? So he said that, and this word unfortunately is all blotted out because it's a very old Gemara. Asirtli or Kiyumli L'Bas Sheva, which apparently means that he was married to Bas Sheva. V'ksiv v'tavoi Bas Sheva el HaMelech ha'charda, that Bas Sheva went into his room. Amar Yehuda Merav b'oisa shah kincha Bas Sheva b'sholosh esrei mapois, that she wiped herself literally with 13 different cloths. Rashi. So basically, she was Aser, says Rashi, Shkvar Nisasi Shmoina Esrei. So David was not allowed to marry Avishag because he was already married to the maximum 18 amount. So she said, Kishe Haganev Chasar, when a thief is missing, Shena Moitza Makoim Lignoim, he doesn't find a place to steal, Masik Atzmu Ba'anava, he holds himself in humility, Ki'ish Shalom, like a peaceful person. She's a kant, it's because you're old. The chashas kaicha ata omer she'ani asuraloch. You're trying to like a ganav who has nothing to steal. He's going to say, "Look, I'm rehabilitated. I'm not a thief." So it's the same. Obviously, it's not true. You're still a thief. There's nothing left for you to steal. So too, you David, it's because you're an old person. You just don't want to get married. So he was able to prove through this cloth, as Rashi says, Shabola Yud Gimel Biyos, that he actually had tashmish with Bathsheba 13 times, which obviously demonstrated that even though David Taka was an old person in years, he still had his physical ability to be intimate. Amarav Shimon Barabba Boro, come and see Kamakashin Gershon, how difficult it is divorce. Shahari David Amelech Atir Lo Yached, he was allowed to even be secluded with Avishag. Lo Atir Lo Garish, he wasn't given permission to divorce any of his wives, which he could have just done. Amar Rabbi Eliezer Kol Megarish Asish Dorishayna, the idea is anyone who divorces his first wife, feel Mizbech Myrid Alav Demois, even the Mizbech is going to shed tears over this terrible tragedy. This you should do to cover the tears on the Mizbech of Bechi Va'anka, in crying and sighing. And furthermore, the pasuk says Malachi. It says V'amartem alman what? Al ki Hashem heyed binchol v'neshus nurecha. Hashem testified between you and the wife of your youth, Asherata bigadta ba, that you have committed treason onto her. V'chavartcha the Ashes B'riyascha, So Amar Rav Yochanan v'Tem Rabbi Lezer ein ish shel adam mesa. A wife doesn't die. El imkin mavakshin meminomam v'ein loy. If she asks you for money and you don't have, or it means that you don't want to provide for her. So unfortunately, because of that, it's going to cause devastation in the relationship, and it could lead to her downfall. Shnemar im ein lochal l'shalim. If you don't have what to pay, lama yikach mishkavcha metachtecha. Why did you take the lying down from underneath you? Yom Rav Yochanan kol adam shemesi ishta rishayna. Any situation where a man's first wife dies, kilchar beis hamikdash b'yomav. It's like the Beis Hamikdash was mamish destroyed in your generation. So, fine. Shenemar ben adam hineni loikech mimchas mechamed inecha. So you take for yourself that which is desirable in your eyes. But megefo lo tifsad lo tispade. Don't eulogize. Lo tivcha. Don't cry. Lo tava demascha. Don't let your tears go down. V'ksiv v'yadaber el b'bayker v'tamas ishti be'erev. She died. V'ksiv hineni mechalas mikdashi go'in uzchem machmed einchem. Amar Rabbi al Chazandria kol adam shemesi ishta b'yamav. Anyone whose wife died in his days, ayulam chayshech ba'ado. All of a sudden, his world gets exceedingly dark. Shnemer or chayshech ba'aloi. His ohel, which provided light, now it's dark. V'neiro elav yedecha. And his candles extinguished. Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Chanina Aymer Pesiyaisav Miskatzreis is not able to take big steps. He no longer has a spring in his step. Shnemar Yitzut Sadi Oinoi. Rabbi Avoyarmer Eitzasun Ophelis, his advice and counsel falls. Shnemar V'tishlichuhu Atzasoi, that his Eitza will be sent away. Omer Rabba Bar Khan Omer Rabbi Yochanan Kashes Uzvugin Kikriyas Yamsov. This is a famous Gemara in the beginning of Masechta Sota, that marriage is as difficult as the very Kriyas Yamsov. So Shenemar Elokim Moishim Yechidim Beisa Moitzia Syrium, taking out prisoners Bekoishais at the right time. Al Tikre Moitzia Syrium El Kemoitzia Syrium Al Tikre Bechshurais El Bechi Veshiris Eini V'yom Rabbi Yehuda Marav or Boim Yom Kodem Yisir Savlad. 40 days before a child is born, Bas Koil Yaitzis, a Bas Kori comes out, Yomeris Bas Ploini Lo Ploini. So it's already been predetermined who that person is going to be married to. So what do you mean Kashas wouldn't create Shamso? So her answer is it depends. Haba Zivik Rishon, Haba Zivik Sheni. The Zivik Rishon's already been a match in heaven. The Zivik Sheni is Kashas Vugin Kriyas Yamsov. And we understand that second marriages, as unfortunate it is, first marriages, there's a high percentage of a divorce rate, but second marriages are even higher. So therefore, Kashas Vugin, it's much harder to create Yamsuf, just like the Yamsuf. It takes sometimes a tremendous amount of difficulty to be able to remain compatible, especially when it comes to a Zivik Sheni. Omer of Shmuel bar Nachman l'chol yish temura. For everything in the world, there's a replacement. Chutz me'eshes ne'orim, excluding the wife of your youth. Shnemar ve'eshes ne'orim ki timos, referring to the wife of your youth. It is timos, melted. Master Rabbi Yehuda or Rabbi Yitzchak Berei, ein adam maitze karas ruach el me'ishta rishayna. A person only finds contentment from his first wife. Shnemar yehi mekorcha barich, that the source is blessed. The samach me'eshes, as we continue to chaf beis and beis, me'eshes norecha. Okay, so before we turn the daf, let's see if there's a question over here, which maybe I didn't do. Question 3. Be'ez ksav be'ez lashon mitna Torah Yisrael. So we did this a while back. Some say it was ksav ivri. Some say it's kshav ashuris. L'kol yalma b'lashon kodesh nitna. Okay, let's keep on going. Chaf beis and beis. Omer loy kegayin man for example, like who? Like your mother, right? I had a very close relationship with her. So but Rabbi Yehuda called to Rabbi Yitzchak his son. He said, Asher he matsudim v'charamim. So she's very difficult, my wife. So it's almost a total stira. How is it possible that he's saying that his wife is worse than or more bitter than death, and yet at the same time he says, based on this pasuk, that the only level of contentment is found by your first wife. It sounds like a contradiction. So he says, you're right. Miska of Tekifa, she was very tough. Avuri Mavra b'mila, but she was also very forgiving. Rav Shmuel Barini Mishmei Rav, Isha Goylam he. Isha is like an unfinished kli. Says Rashi, kli shalo nigmar kari goylam. The eni kareses bris elami shi'asa kli. And we only find that she's caresses bris only with the person who made her into a kli. Which basically this is something which we find in all the talk shows, and nowadays it's kind of almost ridiculous, but we see that a woman is going to have a stronger emotional attachment if she was a basula upon marriage, that when she's considered like an unfinished kli, so to speak, and therefore she did not have a bunch of partners that she's been intimate with, and therefore when she is this isha goylam, then she'll be kares bris only l'mishias kli, with this first man, because she has this emotional, intimate relationship only with one man and no one else. And therefore, because of that, she's able to have this connection. Shnemer kibolecha oisecha Hashem savacha shemai. Tana ein ish meis el ishtoi. It says a man doesn't mean a man dies because of his wife. Ein isha meis el baila. A woman only dies because of her husband. It means the greatest loss is the spouse. So when let's say a woman dies, her husband experiences the greatest loss. That's because it's the most intimate of relationships. Even though, of course, there are children, there are siblings, maybe parents, but it's most powerful to the husband or to the wife. Ein ish meis el ish shenemar v'yamas Eli Melech ish nami. That Eli Melech died, who is the husband of Nami. The Ein Isha Mesa El Labayla Shnemer Vani Bevoy Mepada Mesa Lai Rachel. It mentions the death of Rachel. So again, we see from here the greatest loss is to the spouse. Question 4. Me'eza pasuk nilma shein ish meis el ishta me'eza pasuk nilma shein isha mesa el labayla. So we saw that a woman's death is most powerful to the husband, like we find by Rachel and his relationship, Yaakov's relationship with Rachel. And Ein ish meis el ishto, because it says V'yomos Elimelech died, who is ish nami. So the wife Nami experienced this the most. A king should get a haircut every day. Kohen Gadol Erev Shabbos once a week. Kohen Hedyot Echad L'Shloshim Yom once in 30 days. Melech Mistaber B'chol Yoim Shenemer Melech B'Yafya Tachzeina Einecha. That a king should always be in a beautiful state, and therefore he should always look pristine with a brand new clean haircut every single day. Kohen Gadol Me'erev Shabbos. Kohen Gadol was only once a week on Friday. Amar Rav Shmuel bar Nachman, Amar Rav Yochanan, Hayil Mishmaris Mischadshais. Since there was 24 Mishmaris, and they switched on Erev Shabbos in order to be able to look proper for the new Mishmar, the Kohen Gadol should have a haircut before them to show his respects. Kohen Hedyot Echad L'Shloshim once in 30 days, except B'Rasham Lo Yigalechu, and your heads you should not shave. U'Pera Lo Yishlechu, and your hair shouldn't go too long. Kisus Yichasmu Es Rashehem, you should trim your hair. V'Yolav Pera Menazir, Ksiv hacha peril yishulchu yishulchu ksiv hasam gedel perasar roisha yismal hon shloishim avkan shloishim for 30 days. You don't get the nuzers for 30 days. So kohen head is 30 days. With tnan nami stam nazir shloishim yoyim. And we know nuzers for 30 days. So hasam don't have to know nuzers 30 days. Amar Masna Dimakra Kaddish Yiyeh. So the word Yiyeh Yud Hey Begematria Tlasan Havi is a numerical value of 30. Armali Rapapul Abaya Ema. Well, wirvu klal. Maybe you don't have any hair. So malay iksiv lo yishachu pera kedikamrit. Hashtag iksiv upera parachute li have shluchi lo yishachu. You can have it, but you can't just let it continue to grow. So it's not saying you can't have hair at all, but it shouldn't be very long. Yihachi in the nami. So maybe nowadays Kohanim should get their hair cut all the time. No, dumidi yayin. My yayin, just like wine, Bisman bia hu de aser shel bisman bia shari apri roish bisman bia aser shel bisman bia shari. The whole issue of having wine is only when you go into the base of mikdash. So too, you also have to have a haircut as a kohen hedjit once in 30 days, only because you're going to the base of mikdash. Otherwise, it's not an issue. So v'yayin shel bisman bia shari. Is it true that wine nowadays is okay? Vosanya Rabbi Omer and I say the kohanim asur l'shtayseim l'oilam. A kohen should never be able to drink wine. Avul ma'asa. What can I do? Should the kanasul kalkola tahi. The takana is its kalkola. In other words, really we should be concerned that the Beis HaMikdash will be built very, very soon, and therefore, at any stage, they may need to go to the Beis HaMikdash to be able to do their avoda. So we shouldn't drink because they don't know their mishmor, they don't know their Beis Av, and therefore they should never drink. But because the Beis HaMikdash has been so far, so because of that, we're going to be realistic over here and say the chances are that while you're drunk, that the Beis HaMikdash is going to be rebuilt is not something that we have to be so concerned over, unfortunately, because it's been so long. Yom Rabbi, come on. Shasi Kahani Chamira Idna, who allows wine to be drunk? Nowadays it's Karabi, as we saw. The Chadar Banan Asri must be Tzmach Lokus. So we see it's not allowed. Even Shlobazman Bia. So Hassam had a time, what's the whole reason? Mehera Yabana Beis HaMikdash, V'inan Kohen Horoy Lavoida, Valeka. He needs to be fit, and therefore he can't be drunk. Hachanan V'inan Kohen Horoy Lavoida Valeka. So same thing by a haircut. All you can do is just get a quick haircut and go. So it won't be a problem. Take a little nap for a few seconds, you'll feel better and you won't be drunk anymore. If you walk a small distance, even a small amount of sleep, is mafigan esayayin. It dissipates the wine within you. So just do that. That's only if you drink a small amount. Then if you start walking, that walk is going to make it worse. And the wine is going to make you even more, the sleep will make you feel even more intoxicated. So therefore, because of that, there's no eitzah. That's the reason why you can't drink, but maybe you don't have to worry about getting a haircut. Vasher, a different chiluk. Sui yayin, when it comes to drinking wine, the machli avoida, that if you would do the avoda while drunk, the whole avoda is considered profane. So gaz rabbanan, that you can't drink. Papuri reish, the lo machli avoida, lo gaz rabbanan. When it comes to going and doing an avoda, even if you didn't get your hair cut before, it's not, the avoda is not ma'akev. Meisvei, for the Gemara, ve'elu, these kohanim, Shibamisa will be getting Misa, which includes Proi Rosh of Suyayin. Abishal Suyayin, if you drink first, Yain Vishechar al Tasht. Atovanecha Velosamusu. Don't drink, because if you do, you can be killed. So that makes sense. Proi Rosh Menolan. How do we know if you do a voda with your hair not cut that you're going to be killed? Because the Iskish Suyayin, we make a Hekesh. We're Proi Rosh. We know is Bamisa. Rosh is Bamisa. Umina. And now that we know that there is a death penalty when it comes to doing the vote without getting a haircut, so Mina Mashu Suyayin the Machli Avoida Rosh the Machli Avoida Kasha. So maybe you would think that it would actually make the avoda not good, just like drinking and then doing the avoda. So you would think the same thing. So you're right. It's taka a good kasha. Amar Rabbeinu Ravashi. Hi. Understand. You quoted this pasuk in Sefer Yecheskel that was what mentioned V'roshim lo yigalechu, Pharaoh lo yishlchu. So which we end up learning that the Kohen Hedjed had to get a haircut once a month. So how do we learn it before Yecheskel came around? Doesn't make any sense. Only Yecheskel, but not before that. So, according to your reasoning, it was actually Yecheskel who taught the following: that Kol ben Nechar, Aro Lev, the Aro Basar Yavo El Mikdashi, Lishar Sani. Any person who is an Aro Lev, an Aro Basar, cannot serve in the Beis Hamikdash. So what? Ad Deloy Ba Yecheskel Man Amra, who taught it? Now, El Gamer Gemiru, V'Asi Yecheskel V'Asim Chakra. It's not that the law didn't exist before Yecheskel. This law always existed. But it's just coming to tell you that once Yecheskel came, he was supported it by a pasuk. Okay. My kisus yichasimu es rashehem. What is this last part of the pasuk? So Tana Kimin Tispyrus Lulyanus. It's referring to this very unique, special type of a haircut. My Tispyrus Lulyanus, Amar Behuda Marav, Oimer Shmuel, Tispyrus Yechida. It's referring to a unique haircut. Hechidami, Amar Rabashi, Roishel Sholzeh, Besadikar Sholzeh. That when you cut his hair, the one hair, it landed on the root of the next hair. Obviously, they're very, very thin, but each hair was delicately cut so that when it turned over, when you put it to the side, it reached the root of the other one. Sholas Rabbi Yezu Tisbayr Shel Kohen Gadol. What was his haircut? Amar Lohen Suru Mistapra Shel Ben Elasa. I'm going to show you the haircut of Ben Elasa, which is the son-in-law of Rabbi, and that's what he did with his haircuts. Tanya Rabbi Omer Loyal Chinam, not for nothing, Pizer ben Elyaso es Ma'isav, did he spend his money. El Kadei Laharais boy Tispirish Shel Kohen Gadol. He did it in order to be able to show people exactly the type of a haircut that the Kohen Gadol received. Okay. Let's look at maybe a couple questions. Question TA1. Aliba de Rabbanan Asurim Kohanu Shuyayin Bizman Azeh Madua Begidul Pera Mutarim. Why, when it comes to Giduli Pera, is it allowed? So there are two reasons. First of all, because Pera, you can get a haircut immediately, or because it's not Machal the Avoida if you do it. That's TA1. So let's mark that down. First of all, let's see, the first answer, let's see. Efshir, right. Hacha, Efshir de Misaper v'ayil. So that's one answer. And the other answer, as we said, is that Shesuya Yayin de Machle Avoida Gazburabanan. Puriroish de Loya Machle Avoida Gazburabanan. So that is the answer. It's TA1. TB2. Kol Kamazman Sarach Kohen Hedjit was stopper umenolam. I'm not exactly sure if that's the right language, but when does a Kohen Hedjit get a haircut? So it said, let's get this down, TB2, because it says, let's find it, Kohen Hedjit is Echad L'Shloishim Yoyim, once in 30 days, and we learned out of Gzer Shava Para from a Nazir that it's supposed to be for 30 days, and we know that it's 30 days for a Nazir V'Hosam Noam because it says Yihiyeh was Gmatria Tlosin Havi. Okay, let's see what I wrote. Kol shloishim yoyim medini nazira shestam nazir shloishim yoyim migadol para roishai. Right? Sounds pretty good to me. Okay. Rabbi Gibber. Let's see. Question maybe 16. Lamaksib Daniel loy nahalin kosvo mikra yisrael haidan lamalka. Loy yadu likras as shibiksav. They know how to read what was written. So the Torah was changed to a different lashon. Really, it was not changed at all. It teaches for Ashuris the Adbash. Okay, not sure if this is all correct. Eich nishtana olamoy shel ha'adam b'zeh shemesel lav ishtoi. So first of all, how is his world changed? B'chayev. This is what I wrote. It's like the base of Mitzvah was destroyed. He has darkness. He'll never again leave the feeling of feeling pleasant, secure, or pleasant. I'm not sure if that's what they're looking for. I think what they wanted was darkness. I think they also wanted that your steps are p'siyaisa miskatreis are shortened, and it's sasa noifelas. That's probably what they're looking for. Question 20, last question. Ezu halacha is mitaris Moshe Rabbeinu lulmanu ad shebo Yecheskel. The way to get the haircut of the Kohen Gadol, I wrote, I think it's the regular Kohen, and the time to wait to cut hair. This is not true. The other answer is that Kol ben Necher Oral v'chol v'oral basar yavo mikdashi. That someone who is lacking a relus, says Rashi, Kol ben Necher, Kohen. We're talking about a Kohen, actually, Shnistachru Ma'isav, L'oviv Shema Shemayim. He basically went off the derech, and his Arav Liboy, and his heart has gone away. Or Ol Basar, or maybe he himself, Shemeso Achamach Masmila, he didn't have a bris meal, but he has a valid reason, so then that person cannot serve in the Beis HaMikdash. So it's, again, about getting a haircut, but it's also for a ben, I'm just going to write this one in, ben nechar, no enter the mikdash. That's 2025. Okay. Hanulach Kohen Gadol, Hanulach Kohen Gadol, Hanulach Kohen Gadol. We finished the second parak, and we're going to continue tomorrow. And the third parak, Dini Mominus B'Shloisha, which sounds a lot like our first parak, Adkan.